Champions of the future head to Donington Park for round number 2 of the championship. Coverage starts in 1 minute here on RaceSpotTV.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it into 4, who's going to be into stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Another week, another race in Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship here on RaceSpotTV. Will Vincent, I'm back! Along with Johnny Simon here as we are just moments away from the first of our 2 heat races here today. Well, Johnny, qualifying is pretty much done for all intents and purposes. Just a couple of people finishing their laps. We love these heat races. Race number 1, always fast and furious. Race 2, a little bit more strategy involved.
Certainly is. We love that pit stop on the reverse grid. It absolutely makes things thoroughly entertaining for us here in the booth. And, well, what a great track to put these cars against. And it's going to be interesting come the next 1 hour and a half.
So here we are then. Let's have a look at your starting grid for the first of today's event here on RaceSpotTV. And it is going to be on pole position, the driver of Ashley Sutton, 130R. 131 even, 0.914 for that CQR car. Sylvian Promenade alongside him, just 7 1,000ths of a second off the front row, off the front spot of the grid. Michael Hall in 3rd and Dan Hunt in the 4th position. Felix Alexander Chandra in 5th position. Ben Palmer in 6th. Stephen Burke in 7th. Pete Newman in the 8th spot. 9th place going to Rusty Laidler. Tom Stanley in 10th. Then Paul Smith and Robert Plumley in row number 6. Dan Blake, Liam Aitkins in row number 7. Then it's Maziak Shruzvik and Mars Coletzi in the 6th row. Heading on back, it's an all-Dutch row in row number 9 with Roy Verke, Dimitri Dundevic. Then Joseph Newman, Martin Johnson running out your top 20. There's the rest of your field. It's a 24-car field here today. 22 drivers have qualified. And then you've got just 22 of them who have actually set themselves a time. So we are just waiting for the play clock to expire. There you can see it has now expired. And these drivers are going to head themselves down to the starting grid for tonight's event. And we'll have a look then. And are we actually going into qualifying? We're just having a look there. Trying to have a look to see when we are likely to get ourselves ready to go. It'll be about a minute's time. So let's talk about this racetrack very, very quickly, Johnny. It's fast. It's furious. The first couple of corners, they are insane to go through.
Certainly are. I mean, we love this track. It's very, very iconic. We know that a man named Ayrton Senna famously achieved one of his best wins here in 1993, and today these guys want to put their name on that same list, and what a track to do it at.
Yep. So then, just having a look as these drivers are getting themselves ready for this race. We're going to step aside for just 1 moment. We'll be back after this message.
What is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or For live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. We'll be about 15 minutes away from the first of our two races here today for round number 2 of the Champions of the Futures World Touring Car Championship. It's not round number 2. I'm getting my weeks confused, Johnny. We are getting close to halfway into this championship now. And, well, you've been calling this one a couple of weeks. It's, again, a fascinating season. We love the reverse grids, but these first of these races, it's all about all-right speed, and really, we know there's no one faster than actually starting it. It was close, though, this time by 7/1000ths of a second, separating P1 and P2.
Yeah, certainly was. The unfortunate thing for Ashley, though, is that he has been absent from round 2 and round 3. So for now, he's currently scored in P14 in the championship. And, well, I mean, I think that's pretty decent considering he scored 0 in 2 and 3. So for now, in round 4, he's going to have some fun. We know the drivers get 1 drop week, but he's used an extra one. It's going to make the championship extra hard if he contests the rest of the season. So we'll see what he can do, as his teammate Michael Hall is currently leading the championship with 335 points.
Yeah, and last time out, it was Hall who was the bridesmaid. This time, it looks as though he very easily could be setting himself up for a run at the championship. But the thing is about this championship as well is that you can get momentum. You can't necessarily think that you got this championship locked on until we get to the final round of the championship. That was how it was last time. I think it's going to be exactly the same again. And for Michael Hall, this stage of the season, it is basically about making sure that he keeps the advantage over the other CQR car, his own teammate. And that is where you can get a little bit Hamilton and Rosberg-esque and start getting frustrated.
Yeah, certainly can, exactly. I mean, but the only thing is now is that, as well as that, they got a man named Sebastian Vettel. Jokes, it's actually Sylvain Pomerade, who won both races, last race in round 3, and Michael Hall did the same thing at Silverstone. So you see there, Michael's got his teammate, but he's got that extra guy from the other team. That's the JCL Sim Racing team for Sylvain. So, I mean, it's going to make things ultra interesting come the end of the season when these guys are very, very close. It's only 20 points between them at the moment, near the top of the standings. So, I mean, well, it's all game on already from this point onwards.
Yep. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, if you missed any of the 12 hours of Sebring here on RaceSpotTV, you can check the race out in its entirety. Just head over to our YouTube page. Experience what was a crazy 12 hours of Sebring, part, of course, of an iRacing doubleheader, which include the 3rd round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. So, one of the things about this, what I do find always to be a little bit crazy, is when you get that 20-minute break, and we were talking about just before we went on air, you get pumped up. When I'm shouting at you, thinking, what's nothing working? And then all of a sudden, you're in a holding pattern for a few minutes. That adrenaline bleeds off. And for some drivers, to go through that phase, it just unsettles them in their head. Yes, you've got the opportunity to make changes to your car, but if you struggle in qualifying, you can end up going the wrong way on the setup once you come to the race, just because you've tinkered too much.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want it getting to your head, and that's the key. There's two types of drivers. Drivers that will get nervous under pressure, and the drivers that will thrive under pressure. And if you're the guy who gets nervous under pressure, you really have to take the time out to analyze why. I mean, do you think too much? Do you put too much effort in where it's not needed? This is where you just need to relax and keep your mind fresh come the start of the race. And the best thing to do is that the less your heart races, the less your heart beats, the better you're going to do come race time.
But we've talked about this Donington Park circuit a little bit already. I think of all the races of the season, this is the one where you could end up with a little bit of a cluster down to that final corner, because it's a chicane. And, well, it's a chicane which is very... the centre of the apex of that corner, you cannot get two cars across. It is one lane wide. But people will try and go too wide. People will even try and go 3 wide. And those curbs as well, those high curbs, Johnny, well... you touch them wrong, you're flying into the air, you're upsetting the balance of your race car, and also the opportunity to run into the back of someone who actually you're just trying to brake, but you can't.
Yeah, last week though at Sebring we talked about turn 2, how you could only get 2 cars through there at once. Unfortunately though, no one listened to me and they tried to make it 3 and 4 wide through there, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see the exact same thing today through the S's. And I mean, I just don't want to even think about it, because there's no room, as you said, to go 3, 4 wide through there. So these drivers, anything's possible this season, and that's what makes this series so great, and it's been an absolute delight to watch. So, well, I'm going to be very sad once it comes to an end, but we're not even halfway through it. I'm thinking about that, and that's what all the guys at the top of the standings need to do as well, is to think towards the end of the season how they're going to capitalize and finish on top.
Yeah, well, we're going to step aside once again, ladies and gentlemen, get ourselves ready for the race. That is coming up next here on RaceSpotTV, home of the 2015 iRacing.com Indianapolis 500.
What is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar, the heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Truex in the outside, contact made, 56 slides it at a 4, who's going to be at the stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV. Our coverage today, our aerial coverage, is brought to you by And One Design, official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV. As we get our first opportunity to then take a look high above at this magnificent racetrack. Well, it's gone through some changes over its time, and in that infield section that we can see on our screens, Johnny, that is where, from about 2003 through to 2007, I used to get incredibly drunk and listen to lots of awesome metal music until they moved it to a little location which is, I think, somewhere about there on your screen.
Isn't it called a download something? I can't remember
Festival.
really. I'm not.
Yeah.
Download Festival, yeah, and it's meant to actually sort of take the piss on actually downloading music. So I'm not really too familiar with rock music, and well, I don't know about getting drunk. I'm familiar with that, but not with rock music. And it's well, you know what? They've done a great job in 2009 to really refurbish the circuit a little bit, and they tried to host the Formula One race here, put a few bids in, but Silverstone's kept that. Both still great circuits, so I mean, it goes to show how competitive that sport is in itself.
Yeah, and of course they got the rights and they lost the rights. They ran out of money. They came back, of course, involved in that partnership with the Circuit of Wales at the moment. That one's going down the potty about as quickly as something goes down one of the old long drops at Download Festival. It used to be great, actually. You used to walk, when you walked into Download Festival, Johnny, you used to literally walk through that old Dunlop tyre. That was like the bridge on the racetrack. It was great. And then one of the toilets was basically based on the exit, I think, of this corner around here. So if you wanted to go take a leak, you would almost be leaking on the racetrack.
Oh, that's not good. That reminds me of at Albert Park before the race here. They, I hope it's for charity. If it's not, then I don't like it. If it is, then I support it. But they have a colour run, which is nice, and the track gets pretty coloured up after that. And well, I don't support it for the racing, but of course, if it's for a good benefit, then why not? So yeah, I mean, leaking all over the track at Donington's probably not doesn't do any good for the historicness and the amount of classic races this venue's had.
Yeah, and I do know the colour run is generally for charity, so in fact it was Dulux who sponsored it last year, but yeah, it's all for good cause. We'll let you off as a little bit of a ding-dong moment there. Let's look then at Michael Hall in the number 3 car. We rattle on board with him as we run you through your starting grid for the first of tonight's events. Here, we can't do that for another 2 minutes and 6 seconds. I don't know why I'm even talking, Johnny. This is why you're leading the first of these races, because I obviously just suck today.
No, you never suck, and I'm not just sucking up. And well, you know what? You know, we'll give you some sympathy on that. It's all good. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, this series has really got me on my toes every race long. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to commentate on it for the season, and I mean, the drivers just make it even more interesting. And these cars, I mean, you couldn't put perfect cars around a perfect circuit selection. And well, the calendar organisers have done a great job of that, as we have cars all over the place this afternoon. I'm seeing when the gravel spinning around. So I mean, that just goes to show how well, how interesting this race one could be.
Yeah, there's a look at you weather then. It's nice, shall we say, for the time being. Second race is where it gets interesting. They'll mess around the weather, get ourselves ready for the second race, and it's going to be very entertaining there. So you can see then 1 minute remaining of practice as we take ourselves another look high above here at Donington Park. It's probably the third biggest road racing circuit in the United Kingdom, after first, of course, Silverstone, and then also Brands Hatch. And it's a track that you can see, actually, we're running the GP layout, so my comments from earlier, completely scrap them. We're going to get ourselves a run to the final corner, but before we get to the final corner, we go through the S's in the opposite direction, Johnny, then down a hairpin, then down another hairpin, and Goddard's turn 11, that is where the action will really start. It's a bit like when you come out of turn 4 at Talladega, and then you get yourself to the tri-oval. That is where the race is really going to start in race 1, I think.
No, of course, and I mean, you look at turn 1, 2 as well afterwards, so if they are side by side through Goddard's final corner, I mean, they're just going to hopefully at least maintain it through 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow, I mean, I'm pumped. I'm actually really pumped at the moment, and I'm hoping to get things going very, very shortly.
You're that pumped, we have to even talk about NASCAR. On Fox! But yeah, there you can see, checkered flag is out, ladies and gentlemen. Here will be a look at your starting grid for this race coming up on your screen in just 10 seconds time. So we get a look then at an old bridge, and there's a look at pit road. So let's have a look at your starting grid. It looks so the pace car is on the racetrack, Johnny, but as far as it goes, it will be Ashley Sutton on pit road. Sylvain Pominardi just 7/1000ths of a second back.
Wow, I mean, this is incredible, especially for Ashley Sutton. If he indeed wants to make a run at the championship, which will be optimistic, I mean, it's going to be a big push for him.
There you can see a look through your field, and it's interesting to note, actually, you've got people with Alexandre Chandra with a 57.71 I rating, alongside him, Ben Palmer, 11.07. That shows, really, one of my favourite things about iRacing. iRating doesn't always matter.
It doesn't, especially in league races like this. It's incredible to see. What is interesting, though, is I want to switch my attention to is the pace car lap. Because of the length of the circuit today, I mean, we have the full length of the 4 kilometers. It's the pace car lap only starts around the S's, so normally we'll have the full lap at all circuits that we've had this season, but at this circuit now it's just going to be a small or few couple of corners. It means it's going to make it extra hard for drivers just to get prepared for the race. They have to do it a lot quicker than usual as the pace car finally pulls away.
Yep, so here you can see this concludes RaceSpotTV pre-race show of Champions of the Futures World Touring Car Championship. This broadcast cannot be reused without the prior consent of RaceSpotTV. So, Johnny, race number 1, getting ready for the start. It is over to you to lead the way for this, the first of our 2 races.
Thank you very much, Will, and as we talked about through the pre-race show, the circuit, absolutely iconic as we have Ashley Sutton and Sylvain Pominardi lead away the grid. Behind him, Michael Hall and Dan Hunt. Dan Hunt, unfortunately, we know last round, ran out of fuel at the final corner and lost the win in race 2. Gave the double win to Sylvain, and Michael Hall's the only other driver to have a double win round, and that was at Silverstone in round 2 as the drivers finally prepare to take off into turn 1. The pace car finally in, and Ashley Sutton will pull away right now as we go green for 20 minutes of racing here at Donington Park. Absolutely great start from Ashley Sutton. His teammate Michael Hall already alongside him. Great teamwork to pull that off together. Ashley Sutton are getting very unsettled, as well as Sylvain Pominardi in P3. And behind we look at the drivers. Dan Hunt's dropped back quite significantly. He's on the attack from Ben Palmer at the moment. Tom Stanley, I think that's that's Pete Newman. So Pete Newman, Tom Stanley's teammate, really on the attack as well. Back at the front though, Ashley Sutton away from from Michael Hall, and then Sylvain Pominardi in P3.
Yeah, and they can see running on board with Pete Newman in that number 58 car. So work themselves now out of the hold hairpin section on the racetrack, down through Starkey's Bridge, and then McLean's turn number 7 on the racetrack. There's a look at your race leader. There you can see there as they come down into Coppins for the first time. A little bit of dancing, weaving the air, 3 wide down on this pack right now, Johnny.
Wow, incredible stuff. Look at the close racing as well as they head towards number 7. And just incredible. I think Tom Stanley's actually gone from the race. I cannot see him, unfortunately. But we have drivers still dicing in these early stages. For now, though, coming through the S's, it's still Ashley Sutton leading. This is what we miss from him, Will, is just the fact that, I mean, from rounds 2 and round 3, he is such a dominant driver. But his teammate Michael Hall's capitalized on that. And at the moment, he's in P2. So, I mean, it goes to show, it laments what could have been for Ashley Sutton had he not taken that extra drop week.
Yeah, and we've just seen a couple of drivers there, Keith Hamilton and Martin Johnson, both going slowly. Now, one of the things about this race that anyone who watched last season's coverage will remember, Johnny, is slow down penalties. As far as this race goes, it really does follow the MSA, Motorsport Association for the United Kingdom's way of saying the racetrack is defined by those 2 white lines. If you go over those and over the curbs, well, we might well give you a slowdown penalty. Sutton leads that first lap, but already, Rusty Laidler, you can see him on your screen. He has fallen all the way back due to a penalty. 7 positions lost in that first lap of the race.
Unfortunate for Rusty Laidler, it's not what he wanted, of course, already. He's currently in, P16, yeah, at the moment. Sorry, my bad. The timing screen's a bit updating there, but nonetheless, we look still at Rusty. He's quite far back from Dmitry Djukanovic. Still at the front, though, it's interesting. Michael Hall is under the attack from Sylvain Pominardi for P3. 3/10 the gap between the two of them. We look at Sylvain now into the slipstream. Can he pull off a move into the S's? He's too far back, and this is where it's crucial, as you said, Will. The slowdown penalties come the S's. Drivers have to avoid it and really set up a move into appropriate zones. Look at that though, Sylvain now getting the traction and the grip. Will Michael Hall defend into turn 10? It's going to be very interesting. Already up the inside, so we see Sylvain putting the pressure on, braking late. Tries to go for the cutback, but it's just not possible at this point of time.
Yeah, they work themselves now down towards Goddard's turn number 11. And as I said earlier, that is where this race is really going to start. There's a look then, your biggest movers and shakers in the race, and the two come together there. The CQR car being forced out of the way, and this is going to mean that Michael Hall is right under pressure now from Daniel Hunt as they work themselves towards the start-finish line. They're going to be too wide down to that first corner. Replay of that moment coming up as Hall indeed does go past. And well, we know about touring car racing overall. It is a little bit of beating and banging, but Promenade just trying to use that one in the very early going of this race.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Well, it was good tactics, though. I mean, if it is legal indeed, we don't know if the stewards will look at that or not, but Sylvain trying to be aggressive in these early stages. Still 16 minutes left to go. Michael Hall, though, ending up worse off, obviously, losing 2 positions out of that small bump. Some NASCAR tactics again. We saw a couple of other drivers using them throughout Silverstone. Even a guy, Tom Stanley, who's unfortunately DNF from the race. But Michael Hall now under pressure from going into P5 now. Ben Palmer right onto the back. We'll see. And look at Ben Palmer's exit. Too close for comfort as he gets right up to the back of that Kia Optima.
Yeah, and Ben Palmer's actually one of those drivers who suffered with the slowdown penalties the last time we were here at Donington. And you know that he is definitely going to try and take this one a little bit more carefully. As there you can see a look at your race leader. It's Ashley Sutton. The gap between himself and P number 2 is up to 1.1 seconds. So I think for Sylvain, despite the fact that he's got himself up into P number 2 now, I think that he's got himself a little bit worse aware. That gap is 1 second now. As you can see, there's a little bit of lap traffic already coming into play.
Yeah, there is, and something more coming into play is actually Ben Palmer and Alexander Chaudron into the wall. I think he might collect the wall. No, he doesn't. Keeps it out of there. No, he just clips it at the last second. Unfortunate. Him and Ben Palmer were slicing and dicing after the S's just came way too close between them. I mean, that's what happens with very, very close racing. It gets, well, Alexandra pulls into the pits as well. So unfortunate for him, that battle, well, Racecraft wasn't quite there for those drivers.
There was 2 hits actually. In fact, there was multiple hits. I believe that was one of the Pete Newman cars, the number 58 machine of Pete Newman himself. And here you can see that number 23 car going for a ride. And well, he almost kept it out of the wall and then just tagged it at the last moment. He is on pit road. He is classified as out of the race. But that number 22 car, Sylvain Promenade, is now up into P2. He is hunting down Ashley Sutton, looking to make it 3 wins on the bounce.
Well, this will be incredible for Sylvain and his championship chance as well. So look at him right onto the back of Ashley. Ashley, though, is under lots of pressure. And the important thing about this next corner coming up is not to be aggressive. Braking at the ideal point. And we'll watch them both now. Whoever brakes too late will unfortunately compromise them for the next corner. Look at Ashley Sutton, aggressive through there. Both drivers nailing that complex quite well as they head towards the downhill braking zone of turn 10, Melbourne hairpin.
Yep, out of Melbourne they come. Then you can see a very good run on the inside now. That'll be the outside line for the next corner, however, for Sylvain. As we have a look there, our aerial coverage down into towards turn number 11. Goddard's they come. Not quite close enough there for Sylvain. He tried to get himself alongside, wasn't able to complete that pass. A little bit further back, we still got ourselves a little bit of a battle going on with Paul Smith and Marciek Shusovic, and this is the battle for P number 9. P number 10 is right along board with that driver in the 9th position. Our European driver battling Old Faithful, Old English, Paul Smith down towards turn number 1.
No, big battles going on at the moment. We'll look at turn 1 as well. Guys defending when they don't need to as well. I'm not sure that it might actually be Stephen Burke in front, or it was indeed Paul Smith. So, no, sorry, Pete Newman's dropped a position. So, yeah, now Paul Smith on the attack of Pete Newman. Too aggressive, though. That could compromise Paul Smith going into turn 4. And we see exactly that. Look at Sagovich right behind. He's caught up. He was 6/10 behind across the line. Now he's only 4/10. So, this battle's shaping up to be quite nicely between these drivers. 13 minutes remaining. Still plenty of time. You have to be patient. But we see there, though, Paul Smith, he's just over-aggressive when he doesn't need to be. But actually now it's just paid off for him. But we'll see. He's taking very, very short lines or inside lines into corners. It's not the ideal line, but for some reason it seems to be working out for him.
Yeah, we're having a look on board with Dan Blake as he's going to try and make a pass down to the inside there. This is the battle for P number 9 coming down into the S's. Now I know Dan actually has raced at this racetrack. He's also, of course, one of our RaceSpot TV commentators as he runs in that number 27 car, the JD Media Machine, heading himself now as we have ourselves another slowdown penalty by the looks of it there, as I believe that was Paul Smith. He's lost a position because of another slowdown penalty. So our Souls number 33 car, well, he's now down at the very rear end of the top 10. We've got Plumley battling it out with Aikins as well. This is down in towards Goddard, and well, it's going on all over the place. Out front though, Sutton is able to hold on as that 147 car of Plumley there going down to the inside, and then you got yourself a slow driver. I believe that was going to be 3 wide down in towards turn number 1. But we had ourselves a slow driver there as they came down into that first corner. I believe that was Dimitri. No, it wasn't actually. It was Liam Aikens, I believe, or someone in that battle. Rusty Laidler. Someone. I don't know, no. Someone.
Yeah, same. I'm not quite sure who that is, but I mean, the battle's still at the moment. Robert Plumley right onto the back. Unfortunate for Paul Smith, I talked about him taking, well, non-ideal lines through corners, and that unfortunately led to the slowdown. But look at Robert Plumley now, as I think that's Liam Atkins off the track. So Robert Plumley up into P11. Incredible job from him, putting the pressure on Liam, and now he's just on a charge towards P10 in front, Paul Smith. We know Paul had that slowdown penalty. It will be incredibly interesting to see how he'll handle himself, and we can see now Paul Smith starting to take some good lines, so well done from Paul, starting to learn from that mistake in the S's. I will give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt, the fact that he was stuck behind another car as we have battles going on into the S's.
Yeah, that is Dan Blake right on board with him again, trying to get momentum out the corner. He gets some very good momentum here. That'll put him down to the inside, so work himself down to the Melbourne hairpin. Once again, turn number 10. You'd see Dan Blake, will he look down to the inside? Yes, he will. He will complete that pass. And the thing of that corner is as well, it's a hairpin, and then I think they forgot to round it off on the outside.
Yeah, it's quite interesting as well. It makes it very interesting, the fact that it's cambered, and just makes it much more of a delight to drive. Even the last corner as well, Goddard's, you see, it has a little dip on the apex, and that just makes the corner so much more interesting than it already is. So, I mean, you think a hairpin's just another boring corner, but Donington just makes them that extra bit unique.
Yep, 6 laps of this race scored complete. Let's look at your race leader, Ashley Sutton. Sylvian Pominator in that second place, and well, it looks as though I think Sylvian's just binding his time, Johnny. He's not really done much ever since he went side by side about 2-3 laps ago. Now there is lap traffic ahead of him as well, which will come into play. That is Martin Johnson there. You can see him in that number 505 car coming down in towards McLean's turn number 7 on the racetrack. And well, that lap traffic as Sutton tries to get past it, well, that could become interesting.
Certainly could, as I think, well, Martin Johnson in that incredibly unique livery there, and the leaders are coming up to him at a pretty awkward situation. Hopefully lets him through at the exit of the corner. Interestingly enough, for Sylvain at the moment, his fastest lap of the race, 0.3 quicker than Ashley Sutton in front. That could be helped by, of course, the slipstream from behind, but at the same time, if you're faster than the guy in front, that just gives you extra confidence, as we hope Martin Johnson gets out of the way. He does exactly that, so wonderful job there to get out of the way of that car. Well, he has to take it to the grass as well, as he unfortunately picks the wrong line to let them through. Sylvain, though, this is going to be interesting. Which part of the track will he pass at? He's got to play this perfectly, as we have just 9 minutes remaining in this race. It's gone so quickly in this first 20-minute qualifying race.
Yeah, and there you can see this is a sprint race. Of course, we've got ourselves a second race coming up a little bit later on here on RaceSpotTV, your exclusive home of Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship. There's a look then down your pack, and well, we've still got ourselves a couple of battles going on. Rusty Laidler trying to come back for the field after an earlier slowdown penalty. He is currently scored in that 13th position. He has gained up 2 spots from where he was earlier, but right now he's trying to get past Liam Aikins, who has had himself a couple of moments of himself in this race.
Liam Atkins now, too much pressure. Rusty Laidler trying to make it through. Robert Plumley got behind him, or got past him before at this corner at turn 4. At the moment though, Liam Atkins gets that corner exactly right, so well done to Liam. Under pressure and making it pay at the moment, making the drivers behind. Look at Rusty Laidler though, trying to brake late. The car sliding through the braking zone, the very bumpy braking zone at the moment. I don't think he'll be able to get past. It'll have to be into turn 9. The S's, Howell is run through turn 8, but you can see that it's a bit poor, but he gets the run on. He gets the slipstream now, as Liam Atkins already goes defensive, tries to get out of the slipstream, goes defensive once again, takes the inside line into the braking zone. Can Rusty Laidler break around the outside? And unfortunately, Liam Atkins loses that position and he's down into P13. Great racing there from Rusty Laidler, setting him up all the way from turn 4. We saw it there on your screens.
Yeah, that was a good one there by Rusty Laidler. So good, in fact, we're going to get ourselves a replay of it because we can. As you can see there, we're running on board with that driver of Rusty Legler out of Coppice corner, turn number 8. And you can see, well, you're right, he just set that up perfectly. And the thing is, he did the old Nigel Mansell for Tracy cutback there. Looks like he's going to go to the inside, then use the overspeed on the outside line, down into the S's there. And it was all kind of academic by the time he got down to the S's, using that overspeed very, very well here today.
Yeah, well done for Russell Legler. Currently 6th in the championship. He shouldn't be in P12. He's certainly struggling this round. Qualified in 9th position as well. We know he lost plenty of positions at the start. It was down to, I think it was 16th at one point. So he lost 7 positions at the end of the first lap. Back to the front there, I want to concentrate is whether Sylvain can get in front of Ashley Sutton. We look now through turn 8. Can he get the exit? Ashley Sutton's just that extra... He needs to be at least maybe half a second slower. At the moment, though, last lap, he was a 10th faster than Sylvain. So it's all about lap by lap. One guy's faster, the other guy's faster the next lap, as we just have to hope that there's no mistakes from either of them. And right as I say that, Ashley Sutton goes off into the grass. Luckily enough, though, Will, he just keeps it together. He had that extra couple of 10th advantage that Sylvain couldn't capitalize on.
Yeah, and I've noticed actually that Sutton is braking a little bit early into the corners, because that means he can accelerate a little bit earlier. Upset that rhythm for Sylvain as they come down into Goddard once again. 6 minutes of this first race to go, and well, for Sutton, he's playing a very defensive run here, but it is working out for him. Closest battle we have got on the racetrack is actually that one, though, for the battle for the race lead. A little bit further back, you've got Stephen Burt battling with Pete Newman, who's battling also with Dan Blake. A 3-horse battle right now for P7, 8, and you got, well, actually one more in line there. That's a lapped car. Down, you can see Dan Blake, he's got himself a 3.5 second advantage right now over Maykick, and that is the battle for P number 6, 7, and 8. As we have go back to look at your race leaders once again.
Wow, this is incredible. I mean, the amount of talent in this field as Sylvain still tries to make his way through. The Frenchman trying to show the Brit who's boss. This is all for country pride at the moment, if you want to call it that. Look at that, though. Sylvain, both cars sliding under the braking zone. Well, this is just incredible. And now they go through turn 8, and we'll see if they can set themselves up for a pass into turn 9. Look, Sylvain has to back off the throttle. He just got that good of a run. He didn't want to collect Ashley Sutton in front, and that just compromised him as Ashley Sutton sort of goes half defensive, then pulls the car back. Nice driving there, and I'm pretty sure he will earn the win if he keeps driving like that. Look at that, they're through the S's now. Sylvain, this is the best run he's had all race, and Ashley Sutton now has to go defensive once again. Will Sylvain surprise attack up the inside? No. He chooses that outside line again, Will. And I think Ashley's just played it right. It's the key to Sylvain at this moment, and I've been analysing it all race, is that he has to stick it up the inside of the corner. He can't afford to try and compromise Ashley Sutton's lines by sticking it around the outside.
Yeah, the question's going to be, in my opinion, with 4.5 minutes as Sylvain pushes very wide down the exit of the final corner. Will he use that chrome horn that got him up into second place? To let you know, by the way, Michael Hall hasn't been able to recover from that. He's down in P4. That is a net loss of 1 position since the start of this race. Got himself a good jump at the start, but that CQR car has been, I don't know how to say this nicely, moderately disappointing here today.
Yeah, it has. Well, unfortunately, Michael Hall, he's going to keep this championship lead. I don't think there's 20 points difference, so I mean, we'll see if he'll end up with it outside of the first round, as we have Dan Hunt in front in P3, making a few mistakes there, and he was 2/10 faster that lap from Michael Hall, fastest of all the top 4 drivers there at the moment last lap. So maybe Dan Hunt's pushing too hard in these stages, as I can see into the distance ahead of Dan Hunt, is that Sylvain once again trying to set up Ashley Sutton. He just can't do anything about it. This is what is so frustrating as a driver, trying to get the lead, is that since you've actually been trying, there's 3 minutes remaining, there's really no hope at the moment. Sylvain's just going to have to try something new. As I said, stick it up the inside, but he's too far behind as Ashley Sutton makes a mistake on the run down to turn 10.
Yeah, not going to be close enough, though, for Sylvain to work himself down into Melbourne one more time, as they can get a nice little look at that corner. They work themselves out of that one, as they can see. The rest of your field just starting to cycle through that one now. And, well, we still got ourselves a pretty bunched up group, and we still got ourselves 20 drivers on the lead lap. So, not been a bad race at all here, as far as attrition goes. Only 2 drivers out of the race, and only a couple of drivers are currently scored laps down.
Yeah, and 2 drivers started in the top 10, both out of the race at the moment. Tom Stanley, though, well, he was out. He did come back into the pits. Well, I don't know what's going on there. So a bit of technical issues for him at the moment. And we're hoping to see this race electrify in the last 2 minutes. Not that it already hasn't been in the first 20. But I mean, there's so much action going on today. This series never has enough action. If you think that this is enough, yeah, there's plenty more to come. And that's going to make things so much more interesting in race 2, as Sylvain still can't get through the leader. Oh, just what's he going to do? He has to try something new. He can't afford to do the same thing he has all race.
Yeah, and I'm just actually having a look at the time remaining. 2-minute warning coming up in 3, 2, 1. There we are, 2 minutes of this race to go. They've got 27 seconds to get back to the start finish line. They won't do so. By my watch, the white flag will come out next time by. So there'll be one more opportunity after this one for Sylvain to stick it down to the inside, down into Melbourne. He's close. He's not quite close enough. He's a little bit further back. Pete Newman putting that battle line, and Sylvain getting very loose there on the exit. Sorry, on the entry down into the Melbourne hairpin. Not able to get the run on the exit of the corner. A little bit further back, just to let you know, Pete Newman battling with Dan Blake there. Gap is 3/10 of a second as they now come down into that Melbourne hairpin. The white flag is going to be indeed be out this time by, Johnny.
Yeah, certainly is. So Sylvain's really, it's all going to count on this lap. Obviously, 1 lap to go for them. How will they slice and dice on this lap? Will they be side by side through this first couple of, or through the first couple of turns? No, they won't. Sylvain's still too far behind. This is the point though, at the Melbourne hairpin. If Ashley takes that inside line, the camber on the exit helps him get the throttle on nice and early, and it just keeps the car in a straight line. It doesn't spin out, and that's what's helping him defend the position at the moment. The camber through the exit of the corners. As Ashley Sutton now, you can see both drivers on the limit, pushing as hard as they can at the moment. Both touching the gravel, both touching the grass. Still too far back, Sylvain.
Down they come then. Final couple of corners to go. And you can see Sutton versus Sylvain. They work themselves out of copy. So what is going to be the final time in race number 1. 35 seconds remaining on the play clock. Here's the question. Do you make it into the S's? Can you make it into the S's? If not, can you make it elsewhere? You've got Plumley battling side by side, by the way, with Charles Blitz as they work themselves out of McLean's turn number 6. We go back, though. Bring it home, Johnny, as they come down into the Melbourne hairpin.
We'll look at Ashley Sutton now, still trying to defend from Sylvain. Will Sylvain make one last attempt up the inside? Look at Ashley, aggressive defending. Sticks it at the last minute and defends that position well. I think it's all done and dusted, but this is the worst exit he's gotten all race out of the Melbourne hairpin. Having to defend once again, Sylvain on the attack. And now coming into the last corner of the race, trying to break deep. Will Ashley Sutton defend the lead? Sylvain breaks way too deep, and that's allowed Ashley Sutton take the win of race 1. Well done to him, and a wonderful earned win there for the CQR club. Sylvain Pomerado, the Frenchman, in 2nd place. Well done to him. Dan Hunt there in P3 comes home. Well, great for him, starting from 4th on the grid. Michael Hall drops a position. Unfortunate for him, very slow pace. We talked about it, Will, all race. It was very disappointing to see him down in P4, 5.5 seconds away from the lead. Ben Palmer comes home in 5th position, and then Stephen Burke, Pete Newman, Robert Plumley, Maciej Sagowicz. Was very close between these 3 drivers across the line, between Robert Plumley, Maciej Sagowicz and Paul Smith, who finishes and rounds out our top 10. Incredible race, Will, once again, and we're hoping to see more action through the 35-minute race 2 with that compulsory pit stop, don't forget.
Yeah, and I have to say that Sylvain, he just pushed, as you say, he went a little bit into deep into that final corner, as of course he was trying to keep up above in his head instead of going under. But Ashley Sutton does claim the win here in the first of our 2 races that make up Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship. And here is a look at your results. Ashley Sutton then claiming victory by 24/100ths of a second from the Frenchman Sylvain Pomerade as they worked themselves then in an incredible race. You notice that Sylvain had the faster lap of the 2, but Dan Hunt had the fastest lap of the race. He came in 3rd, Michael Hall in the 4th position, then Ben Palmer in 5th, Stephen Burke in 6th, Pete Newman, Robert Plumley, Maciej Sagowicz and Paul Smith rounding out your top 10. As let's look at page number 2. Dan Blake, after what was an impressive performance, he fell down the field in the last lap or so. Rusty Laidler, 12th. Liam Atkins in 13th. Then we've got Dimitri in 14th. Mark Scalezzi, 15th. Ellis Stevens, Weber Burke, Steve Hefford, Andy Shield, and Joseph Newman rounding out your top 20 drivers. 19 drivers finishing on the lead lap here And there's a look at the drivers scored as laps down. Martin Johnson, Keith Hamilton, Tom Stanley out, and Alexander Schroeder classified as out of the race. We will step aside for a couple of moments, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for mid-race interviews and more excitement here on RaceSpotTV after these messages.
What is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar. The heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your mid-race break, brought to you by Adwa Design here on RaceSpotTV. One round of Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship from Donington Park is in the books, as we're just a couple of minutes away from the second of today's races. We're going to chat from your race winner, Ashley Sutton, in a couple of moments' time. First of all, let's have a chat with some of the drivers who finished outside of the podium. We will start with the driver who fell foul of Donington Park's MSA rules. Rusty Laidler, hello.
How's it going, Will?
I'm not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Take us through the slowdown penalty.
I don't know, I just wasn't thinking. I got too much on the inside of old hairpin, and that was it. I made the stupid mistake of not serving it straight away. I think iRacing gives you like 2 or 3 seconds to serve it, but I decided to wait a couple of corners up the road for a safer spot to do it, and it basically wouldn't go till I came to a complete stop.
Well, that sucks. You did rally back through the field, coming home 12th, but that is not what you would have wanted here today in that number 2 car.
No, not at all. I mean, that sort of... it sums up the season on a whole so far. I haven't had any luck at all. Every week something's happened, and I've just got to keep powering through. Can't let it get on top of you, because then it just ruins the season for you, doesn't it?
Some positive news, at least, though. You're going to get an arseholes car at the front end of the field for race number 2. So now you've got the opportunity to blitz to the front and not get any slowdown penalties.
Fingers crossed. I'm not the best at these pit stops either at the minute. I had a pretty good one at Sebring, but it's, from what I've seen from the previous races, the guys that generally win race, well, finish first, second, third, fourth in the first race, they've got the pits nailed, and they can use the pit stop strategy to their complete advantage. So it's not like it was last season. We had the short 20-minute reverse grid race, which someone like have a higher rank starting at the front usually had a really good chance of getting away and stealing it. Now that pit stop, it's a massive curveball. This race is still, it could still be Ashley Sutton that wins this race outright, and it could still do it by a clear mile. That's the one thing I like about the pit stop, though.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll talk to you after race number 2. Coming up next, it's the old former birthday boy from the 12 Hours of Sebring. The one and only Mr. Paul Smith is stood by being chatted to by Johnny Simon.
Yeah, Paul, this is going to be interesting for you. After the race, I saw you were getting a bit feisty with someone there. A bit of playful bantering, I hope, and not any serious, serious crashing or anything of the liking.
No. It's all good fun between me and him. Something happened in the Global Challenge race that I may have accidentally on purpose hit him in the Global Challenge race to win it. But yeah, I mean, that race, again, same as Rusty, got caught.
Tell Nim Cross.
Let's just say I fell foul of the MSA as well in that race. Got a couple of slowdowns, especially down at the chicane. So I wasn't best pleased with that, but I finished 11th, so could have done better. I should have done better as well. So it's a bit disappointing, that really.
You actually finished in 10th, by the way, so that's a little
10th.
more exciting for you. Yes. So, but the unfortunate thing, though, is that what makes it less exciting is you were only half a second away from 8th position. Does that mean now, does that give you confidence into race 2, knowing that if you nail that pit stop phase, you'll end up on the other side of it in a higher position, maybe into the top 5 even, and we'll hope to see your chances hope to see you do well for your chances in race 2. Can you nail that pit stop phase, and what is the key for it at this track at Donington?
Drive fast, don't use up your tyres, and get the pit stop nailed. I think that's about the strategy, really. I've not done too bad with the pit stops. I think running the Spirit of ELN series has helped get me a bit of practice at that, especially recovering Rusty's broken car. But yeah, it should be. I'm hoping to improve places in this race, like I've done the last couple of these pit stop races.
Thank you very much, Paul Smith, and good luck for race 2 there. P10 in that race, currently 13th in the championship heading into this round. Will, I'll hand it back to you for more interviews, hopefully.
Yeah, we shall carry along then with our rundown of interviews from race number 1 here on RaceSpotTV, as we have the opportunity now to talk to the driver of Liam Atkins. Hello, Liam.
Hello.
47 machine, P13, take us through it.
I run wide on the first corner and lost a couple of positions, and I just could not get, couldn't get consistency throughout the race then, and just dropped back. But I'm still overall pleased because I gained throughout the whole race. So,
well, you came back and you came home 13th place after all. Race number 2, will you take turn 1 and hit an apex?
hopefully, the plan is that. But with the cold tyres from a standing start, whether that goes to plan or not is a different story.
Well, thankfully there's no Apex racing cars here to hit, so the only thing Apex you can hit is the one on the inside of turn number 1. Good luck for the second race. We have also got the driver who came home in P number 9. It is Masiak. Johnny, talk to him.
Talk about the final lap magic, because P9 you were pretty much 3/10 of the driver in front and then 2/10 from the driver behind. What caused that battle at the end? And I mean, how did you end up in a sandwich? Could you have come out on top or if there was one extra lap in the race?
No, honestly, I'm glad it happened. It ended at that point, because if I had another lap, I would have given the position to Paul. But the whole sandwich came out of the fact that at the bottom of the circuit, I think it was Dan who went off, and that kind of distracted me for a split second. And that allowed Robert on my inside. He got past and made a small mistake in the hairpins. I tried to get back at him, but it just wasn't enough. And then Paul tried to have a sneak peek at the same time, and yeah, it got a bit close.
Incredible racing. We know also for that first race though, I mean, the way that I rated it for this series, the amount of action we've seen all series is that, I mean, we were expecting more, and when I say expecting more, it means there was probably 95% of incredible racing there, and normally there's about 500%. So I mean, it goes to show how crucial this next race will be to get out of the trouble, get out of that action. Even if it is a boring race for you, if you do end up on top and in the win, it means you've avoided the trouble, and it means you've nailed the pit stop phase, as I asked Paul before. You really have to nail that phase of the race right, and whether or not the race is interesting or boring enough for you, if you do win, I'm sure that's pleasing as a driver.
It'll be a kind of magic.
Boo.
Yes.
I'll give him that. He answered yes.
Yeah.
So a simple Kimi Raikkonen answer there.
Well, you know, maybe if you want to ask me a question,
Oh,
you
right,
just
right.
ask me a question, what the other boss to do. How long until the second race starts, guys? It's like 5 minutes? We'll find
I think
out.
it's eight to be precise.
8 minutes to be precise. Let's get 30 seconds then with race winner from race number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ashley Sutton!
God, you winged that out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good to have you all back, Will.
Yeah, cheers. It's good to be back and having a little bit of fun on Tuesday nights here on RaceSpotTV. You won! Congratulations! You held off a Frenchman.
I know. I was the only one that didn't get taken out by the Frenchman. It was all good. He's just did the lights to flag sort of thing, so it's good.
Yep. Race number 2, starting from the rear. You've come through from the front before. Of course, we know Donington, first couple laps. It's all going to be about track position and making sure you're not involved in what can very easily be a big wreck. How are you going to do it?
Take it steady. It's 35 minutes, so there's a pit stop involved, so there's no need to go like flat chat on the first lap. Just avoid the carnage. Luckily enough, we're starting not dead last because of a few non-finishers and that didn't complete on the first 2 laps. So yeah, we have a few up, but we've still got to worry about everyone else.
Well, good luck for round number 2. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that is coming up next here on RaceSpotTV, your home of the biggest sim racing event in the world. Race number 2, Champions of the Futures World Touring Car Championship will be next. RaceSpotTV, watch it!
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval. And that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself. And they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building 2 tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The RaceSpot.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
If you missed the 12 hours of Sebring, we'd like to once again say thank you to the wonderful people over at City of Lions for being the official song of the 12 hours of Sebring. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV. Race number 2 going to get underway in a couple of moments. And, well, Johnny, we've had the Fast and Furious. Now we have the real race. The race where people have to think. Use that noisy loud pedal. But also, remember that you can lose the race in turn number 1. You are not going to win the race there.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this race is going on for so long, almost double the time if you do the math, obviously. For those who can't do math, it's 35 minutes long compared to 20 minutes. That's a 15-minute difference. So it's all about longer endurance distance, really, and trying to keep it together for that long. Can these drivers, it's going to be interesting to see which drivers come back from this small break between races in a positive mood, and which of those will have their elbows out a lot more than others.
Yep, this race today is brought to you by Red Wine. Red Wine, I'm drinking it. As we have a look there, we're looking on board, down towards the start-finish straight. Well, race number 1, we almost had that battle out of Goddard. Race number 2, there will definitely be some battling going on out of Goddard's corner as we have a look then at that number 7 power maxed car of Dan Hunt. He's currently fastest in practice. Well, we've got ourselves 34 seconds before we head ourselves to the grid. Give me your final thoughts, Johnny.
Final thoughts is that we are in for one heck of a race, and we've seen drivers even in Brands Hatch. There was one driver who got disqualified for having too many incidents. If we get that much door-to-door racing today, I will be off or on the edge of my chair. Not that I already am not, but it's going to be one heck of a race.
To all the British people, please remember, if you're going to be sitting on the edge of your chair, remember the health and safety consequences. This is a public service message brought to you by RaceSpotTV. So then, session is over. Let's have a look at your starting grid then for this, the second of today's races here for Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship from the majestic, the beautiful, the magnificent Donington Park, home of course of Download Festival. It's my favourite time of the year after Indianapolis. And here then is a look at your starting grid, and it's going to be Martin Johnson. Is that right? I don't think it is. Let's have a look. Yeah, Martin Johnson pole position, Steve Hefford second, William Burke in third, Ellis Stevens in the 4th spot. And then you can see it's cycling up on your screen. Johnny, standing start, gonna have to be careful though, down into that first corner.
Yeah, and I'm more surprised that a couple of guys there, Tom Stanley and Alexandre Chaudron, who would have started near the top 2, are not in this race. But as you said, standing start, it's going to make things very interesting. We had a guy in P2, I think at Brands Hatch, who unfortunately almost jumped the start, and he just kept it together. And if that happens today, we're going to see a big congestion, big clog up down into the first corner.
Yep. Look then at our aerial coverage brought to you today by And1 Design. Those cars beginning to rev. Let's have a look, and let's have a look. You can see the front part of your field as we get ourselves ready for the start of this, the second of our races. The gridding has completed. The race about to get underway. The second of 2 races will start right now. There you can see the field all backed up. We've got ourselves a slow car down in the middle. Car already going to the grass. They are 5 wide as they come down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. First piece of crisis is averted, but you can see wiggle from the 72 cars who work themselves down in towards turn number 1. We've got ourselves lots of wiggling. Look out of arseholes wiggling, but overall we have got everyone through turn number 1. Now comes the challenge. Down into the cranny curves they come. This is where things get mighty, mighty difficult.
Miles Klutzy, incredible start from 5th on the grid up into 3rd. He's just got through, put his car in the right positions. Excellent trash can. That was so before the big try, Liam Atkins was the guy on the grid who was slow. Now he spun off the track. Liam Atkins, a terrible start. I think he false started about 5 seconds before the lights went out even.
Yeah, there you can see him all the way down in the pack. Not a good day then for Liam Atkins overall. We talked to him a little bit earlier on. There you can see the car scrambling for position. Sutton already up into P14. He's looking down the inside of a driver. We go along board with him then as they work themselves now out of turn number 8. That is Coppice. Down this darky straightaway they come into the S's in turn number 9. Well, who is it going to be? It's going to be side by side there. Single file out front. But you've got yourself still a little bit of action when you circle it back through to the front. And you can see there, you've got Mars Coletti leading the way. CQR car leading up the front. Gap between himself and Martin Johnson. Well, that is pretty much nothing. 5 tenths per second as they come down into the Goddard's hairpin for the first time. And there's a look down your field. A little bit of battling going on. A little bit of driving going on there. You see Verke's had himself a slowdown penalty. He is falling well down the field here.
Yeah, unfortunately for Verke, he got turned into a slowdown penalty, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might just have damage because he got clipped quite heavily from behind. I'm not sure who did that, but I mean, into turn 1 at the moment, I'm seeing almost like 3-4 wide into there. This is incredible for a first lap at the moment, but Mars Kletzley, once again, an incredible start. He still leads this race as the drivers head towards the undulating turn 1, 2, 3, 4 complex.
Yeah, there you can see there. Steve Hefford running in P3 right now. He's just falling back from the rear. Martin Johnson in this lap. We've got another driver going slow right now. That is Pete Newman. You can see there, he's had himself an off. That is down at the old hairpin, turn number 4. Well, not a good day then for Pete Newman. Not a good day really for the Pete Newman cars overall. Get ourselves a very quick replay of that one. As we've got Stephen Burke battling right now simultaneously. As you've got yourself and Dimitri also involved in an issue. So we'll show that one on the second part of your replay. But 2 drivers, big issues here. And oh, Newman there. 2-car incident. That was down into the crane of curves. They continued beating and banging along the way. And then Newman just gets forced off the racetrack in that 58 car.
Yeah, Djukanovic and Newman collecting. Oh, as now I watched, I think Djukanovic was off the track as well. But yeah, I think they tried to merge into one line. Djukanovic really should have pulled to the outside. But now Djukanovic got punted off later as well by somebody. I think it was one of the CQR clubs. It might have been Ashley Sutton.
It was
But I mean, that's incredible. Yeah, so Ashley Sutton now, I'm not sure if he might get a penalty for that because that was quite aggressive from him. Although I'm not quite sure what's going on in the race at the moment, as I see Ben Palmer up the inside into P8 from Maciej Sagowicz.
Yeah, there you can see the damage there in front end of Ashley Sutton's car. He works himself out the final corner. Is this going to be a pit stop for him? No, he will try and carry it on. But he is all the way down in the 16th position on the racetrack. That is not where you want to be if you're battling for a championship, considering the fact also Michael Hall is in P number 11. He is a corner and a half ahead right now.
Well, incredible there. Michael Hall still under pressure. Look at the P2, P3, and P4. Oh, this is going to be too tight. Just very close into McLean's now. We'll see which driver will pounce and which driver will wait and relax. I think it might be Steve Hefford trying to stay patient here, but he has to defend as well as attack at the same time. Martin Johnson really on pressure, and now he's turned around, and I think that might be Rusty Laidler into the wall. So unfortunately, Rusty Laidler's race is taking a turn for the worse, and now Martin Johnson's fallen back positions. So Steve Hefford, in all of that battle, he stayed in the same position he was before in P4 at the moment. I think, actually, no, the timing screen is just playing up a little bit there. He's currently in P3, but now at the moment, that was Paul Smith taking advantage of all of that, and he jumps up the inside into P2.
Yeah, Rusty Laidler there getting smacked in the rear in that arsehole's machine. You can see number 2 car being punted there by that number 72 machine. That was Steve Hefford. That was down in towards McLean's turn number 7. They carried it along. That 72 car, no issues to it. It carries along the way. But we've got a couple of drivers with incidents. We did avoid the safety car, but we've got a couple of drivers who are really struggling for pace. So there's Miles Coletti, second position on the racetrack right now. The 5 minutes gone, and that has been an incredibly fast, adventurous, exciting first 5 minutes of the race. You can see Ben Palmer battling out right now with that driver of Dan Blake in towards turn number 1.
No, Ben Palmer trying to stick it up the inside. There's just no room there. Wonderful defending from Dan Blake. And, I mean, yeah, the timing screen is updated, so everybody's pretty much jumped up position. I'm not sure what's going on there, but now at the moment, Mars Kletzley's still leading away. Ben Palmer, though, how's he going to set up Dan Blake for a maneuver? The rear end tries to step away from you through 3 and then 4. And now, look at Ben Palmer, though, the exit quite well. He's exited very well, actually, right onto the back of Dan Blake. Is he going to stick it up the outside? This is too close once again. He sticks up the back of Dan Blake as well, gives him a big bump, and that's just damaged the car there for Dan Blake. So Ben Palmer up a position as well, a bit dirty, but he makes a position anyway, so well done to him. And you have to do anything that's possible to make it up the field.
Yeah, they can see a look at, they're going side by side. This is Michael Hall battling out with Robert Plumley as they head them 6 and off there. As you can see, a little bit further back, Michael Hall still battling with Plumley. They'll be side by side as they work themselves down into the Melbourne hairpin. We ride on board with that driver of Michael Hall. He's going to try, and will he get himself through the corner? The answer is going to be yes. Plumley will leave his second position there. That'll be to Sylvien. He forces his way through on the exit of Melbourne as they work themselves now down in towards Goodhart's, and well, actually Sylvian's been left outside to dry. He'll have to do the cut over as they come out of this final corner, but Sylvien there, not as aggressive as Michael Hall. As you can see that Hall is now up into the 9th position on the racetrack, our biggest movers and shakers so far. Paul Smith up 7 positions, Burke and Palmer each up a total of 9 positions even, all up 7 spots. Plumley is under pressure right now from Sylvien. He's up 7 positions, trying to make it 8 as they work themselves down through Crane Curves once again, down through 3 into the old hairpin they come.
Oh, Burke trying to attack Sylvain. Remember, Michael Hall in front of Sylvain. They're both 1 and 2 in the championship. This is all, well, this is going to play towards his detriment if he does get past at the moment. Michael Hall stuck behind a bit of traffic, so Sylvain has a bit of time to catch up to Michael in front. We'll see where this goes into turn 9 at the moment. In front of Michael Hall, that's Dan Blake and Magic Sagowicz battling as well. Can Michael Hall pounce on these two? Sylvain's still too far behind, but as we go into turn 9, the S's, we'll see if any driver tries to make a move here. Oh, too close. And they're all going to settle in to try and make a move into turn 10, Will. Update on Ashley Sutton. They can see him down in 15th, but the issue for him is the gap between himself and the race leader. Currently 18 seconds almost on the racetrack. But Sutton to last lap, 135.7. That is a second off the pace. That is not a good day in the office right now for that number 1 car of Ashley Sutton. It's a damage there. Dimitri behind him, Draganovic in that number 20 machine. He's been involved in the wars. He's down in the 16th position right now, but out front once again, Burke battling out with Johnson, battle for position. They come down in towards turn 1. This is for P number 4, and Burke is under pressure, putting the pressure on Johnson. Even out of turn 1 they come, and well, Burke not able to move the car there ahead of him as we've got ourselves a good battle going on. Robert Plumley, I think, has gone off the racetrack once again. So Plumley's day is going from bad to worse. He's side by side right now with that number 7 machine of Dan Hunt, and it's his own teammate of Hunt's there right behind him. That is Ellis Stevens, and we know that Stevens likes to use that chrome horn. Oh, wow. We'll see what happens here. Robert Plumley off the track and Ellis Stevens through, so that's no trouble there for Ellis Stevens. And, well, Dan Hunt in the number 7, the lucky 7. What will his luck be in this race? He's still 1.8 seconds behind Roy Ververke in front. We look at the battle, though, between Michael Hall and I think that's Magic Sagowicz. Michael Hall up the inside at turn 8. And, well, I think that might be the first time today we've seen a pass into turn 8, apart from the first lap of the race. So, already pouncing early, and rather than waiting till turn 9, Michael Hall says, no, I'm not waiting another corner. He goes up the inside, and he's up into P8. So, Sylvain now on the back foot from the championship leader. He really needs to make up positions rapidly. Yeah, they can see Michael Hall up 7 places in this race so far. A little bit back. Sylvain is now 2 spots behind Hall. They can see that car made in France as it's currently scored down in the 10th position. We ride along board with him then down towards Goddard, and Sylvain just hasn't got a car that can overtake. We saw this in race number 1. We're seeing it in race 2. That's a big move there down to the inside of that number 8 machine, down on the exit of the final corner. He's going to be side by side, but he'll have to take the outside line. He's going to try and duck down to the inside, down in towards turn number 1. Can he outbrake that car of Messier in front of him? The answer will be no. Sutton there is going to try. He's actually, Sutton's on pit road. Sutton's on pit road early here. So for Ashley Sutton, he's had enough, and maybe he's just got himself to that fuel window. And has he actually made himself a pit stop? I don't think he has. It's a drive-through penalty there for Ashley Sutton as he comes back out onto the racetrack all the way down in P number 16. That is not good for Ashley Sutton. Yeah, unfortunately got into that incident before where Ben Palmer is at the moment at McLean's. And, well, Ben Palmer up the inside of Martin Johnson. Martin Johnson, we always know he starts up the front of these reverse grid races, but he still handles the pressure well. And now he collects Ben Palmer slightly. Ben Palmer almost spinning up. Nice car control from Ben, actually. That was incredible. Just keeping the car in that fast sweeping part of the track. But Ashley Sutton with that penalty, not quite sure exactly what that might be for. But, yeah, his race, I think, is done and dusted for any chance for a win this afternoon. Yeah, they can see Dan Blake battling it out with Michael Hall. This is for P7, P8 on the racetrack behind. Sylvain finally alongside. Sylvain finally past Messier as they'll come down in towards
This is going to be the Melbourne hairpin, turn number 10. And actually, Magic is going to try and get himself back alongside and that run down into Goddard. But Sylvain is finally past. But guess what the gap is? It's 1.8 seconds there. He just struggles moving himself through traffic, does that number 22 car.
No, he doesn't. Who's that? I think that's Michael Hall diving into the pits. Early pit stop. This will be crucial. We'll switch our attention actually to that because last race we saw Michael Hall as well as Dan Hunt making early pit stops and then unfortunately both running out of fuel on the last lap. So this could be crucial now. Is this pit stop too early? We'll see how it goes for them in terms of fuel. But at the moment, Sylvain waiting another lap. This will be crucial. We know he's going to have more fuel than Michael Hall come the end of the race, so he shouldn't have to worry about that, Will. But now as we look at drivers behind, Magic Sagowitz still on the attack. This is incredible racing already in the early stages of the race, not even through the pit stop phase.
Yeah, and Michael Hall, you see that pit stop timer ticking over. 30 seconds of his pit stop is now scored complete. It's a long last stop here for Michael Hall. Out of the way, it's actually going to be first Daniel Hunt in 31.6 seconds. Michael Hall, this looks like a penalty for him there. That will cost him valuable points. As you can see also, you've got yourself another car coming out of pit road. That is going to be Robert Plumley out and away. Ashley Sutton has made himself a pit stop there. He is still on pit road. Michael Hall, 49-second pit stop. That was a penalty, and that is unbelievably slow there.
Oh, Michael Hall, his chances for a win and his chances for the championship, well, they've just taken a turn for the worse at the moment. Michael Hall will see where he ends up after the pit stop phase. The only way here as a driver is just head up, try and make as many positions as you can. Damage limitation for the next 22 minutes. Anything can happen. Last race, we weren't even expecting Sylvain to win the race until we found out in the last lap that the top two did pit. So anything can happen for Michael Hall. A win is far from possible, but I think it's still... Sorry, a win is far from realistic, but it is still possible indeed. So anything at this point in time is possible for Michael Hall. We'll see how he handles the pressure.
Yeah, Paul Smith running in that third position, trying to put that pressure on. He's got Sylvain on pit road right now. We'll show you a look at his pit stop in a moment because Smith is trying to find a way down to the inside of Hefford there. These two are battling for positions, but it means that Paul Smith right now is classified well down the field. He's had a slow down penalty by the look of it. Stephen Burke will get himself past that. That's cost Paul Smith a chance to try and go to the front end of this field. Burke now up into the third position, but the issue is the gap between himself and the race leader is 4.5 seconds. Sylvain then is on pit road. Rusty Laidler on pit road. And Sylvain's pit time where he's carrying it along. Here's a long stop there for Sylvain as well. And it's going to be somewhere in the region of 42 seconds as he now comes back out onto the racetrack. Let's have a look at Rusty. He's going to complete his service this time by. It's currently over 20 seconds as he now heads himself. You can see 10 minutes of this race called complete. What has been going on with the action in the first 15 minutes of this race, Johnny?
No, it's incredible at the moment. So that confirms that at the moment coming out of the pit stop. The pit stop action for now is Sylvain Pomerade ahead of Michael Hall. He's gained about 5 seconds on him. So about 6 or 7 actually even. So he's up in front of Michael Hall. So Michael Hall's actually, his race is far from over. Both pretty slow pit stops for Sylvain and Michael. So there, that could play, that could be very interesting come the end of the race. Maybe we'll have to watch indeed. I think, where is Dan Hunt at the moment? Dan Hunt's made his pit stop. So Dan Hunt in front of these two at the moment. It's played perfectly for Dan Hunt. He's the guy who's made that quick pit stop. I'm not sure what the exact time is. It's showing up as 31.6 on my screen, but that's incredibly quick, almost 10 seconds plus faster than those two.
Yeah, as you can see, Daniel Hunt at 31.6 second stop indeed for him there. You can see that number 7 car, he's power maxed, and he's going to power past Robert Plumley there in that 147 machine as they work themselves down towards the S's once again. Can Hunt make it stick on the inside? The answer is going to be this is into Melbourne. Yes, he can there. Plumley going to try and hold that line so he can go back to the attack as they work themselves out the corner. He will not be close enough as Dimitri is now scored on pit road. You've got yourself a couple of other drivers on pit road. There you can see Liam Atkins on pit road, and I believe Keith Hamilton is there as well. Hamilton now into his pit box. But out front, Mark Galetti still leads away. He has led every single lap in this race so far. Gap to himself and second place is 3 seconds. We're going to step aside for just 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this very short message as we go side by side.
What is it about speed? Do these rivals chase speed because they can? Or because they can't help it? IndyCar, the heart of racing. live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Martin Johnson on pit road, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the action. So Martin Johnson's on pit road there in that number 505 for car. Here he comes onto pit road to make himself a stop. Now, we've had half the field pit, half the field haven't pitted, but Johnson, he's a driver who has a chance to get himself a good finish here, but this pit stop is critical for him, Johnny.
Yeah, we'll see. He has to aim for about 30 to 35 seconds to make up lots of time across those top 10 who haven't pitted, sorry, top 9 at the moment, who have not pitted on track at the moment. We'll see where Martin Johnson feeds out. He's currently 20 plus seconds. It's ticking over second by second. This is where you get very nervous as a driver, trying to squeeze that throttle, scream out of the box. It's going to be incredibly close to see his time now.
Let him go! Let him go! The 505 car, Martin Johnson then completing his service. He's been passed by Plumley and by Hunt. Let's see whether Promenade will be able to get ahead of him. 41.7 seconds on the jacks. Out and away he comes. Sylvienne will go past. Michael Hall will go past. Ashley Sutton won't go past there. As you can see there, back out to the racetrack in the 14th position for the time being. But out front, you got yourself Paul Smith going side by side there with that number 6 machine. That is Ben Palmer. Down into Melbourne, didn't work out for him. As you can see there, we look from the rear of that number 6 machine as he heads himself through the final corner. Still some incredible racing going as that arsehole's car is not done just yet, as Palmer's on pit road, and also is that driver getting himself a bit of a bump in the process there. That was Paul Smith bumping Palmer onto pit road. That might get him a speeding penalty if he's not careful.
Oh, yeah, that's incredibly close for Paul Smith, even as well. So Ben Palmer was on the attack, actually, of Paul Smith, looking at, well, getting news from that. So Ben Palmer actually went up the inside of Paul Smith into the Melbourne hairpin, and now Paul's just been a bit unsettled by that. Hopefully, no speeding penalty. That's just going to ruin his race. He was up into the top 4, 5th at the time of his pit stop. Dan Hunt, though, is the man at the moment who I think will be leading this race after the pit stop phase, unless Mars Klutzy nails his pit stop right. Paul Smith, though, in the box. We'll see how long this takes, as well as Ben Palmer.
Yeah, and you can see already out of the way is Ben Palmer. Smith is going to take some tyres. He's going to be a little bit longer in his pit stop. This will be one of those 40-second stops by the looks of it. Paul Smith, how long will it be? He's lost time. 38.2 seconds. Back out and away he comes, Ben Palmer. 31.2 seconds already back on the racetrack. But Coletti is being caught right now. This is by that driver, Steve Smith, and they can see the gap. It is just 1.7 seconds as they head themselves down in towards, I believe this is going to be Melbourne once again. Indeed it is. You can see traffic in play as well here. But a gap behind, well, that is just 6 tenths of a second to Stephen Burke, who runs in 3rd.
We're incredibly close at the moment. We'll see if Miles pulls into the pits at the moment. Crucially, though, Ben Palmer ahead of Dan Hunt. That's going to play perfectly for him. Miles Klutzy in the pits, the leader, and Steve Hefford continues, so he will take the lead of the race.
Yep, so Hefford, they can see him on towards turn number 1. Coletti, though, he's on pit road. He's going to make himself a pit stop. We'll give you an update on his lap time in a moment, but he can see Stephen Burke just 8 tenths of a second back from the race lead. 3rd place right now. That is a magic. It is the kind of magic. He's in the 3rd position right now, but he has yet to make a pit stop in that number 8 machine, the Federal Race Online car. Let's have a look then. Pit stop time for Miles Coletti. It carries on, cocking his car like a dog as he's going to get himself a couple of tyres, then get himself some fuel, then get back onto the racetrack. He needs a fast stop. Will he be aggressive? Then these pit time, the answer is going to be, it's a slow one. It's over 34.3 seconds as he goes back out onto the racetrack there. So, Mars Coletti, where does he feed in? It looks as though he's got himself quite a bit of wriggle room on the racetrack. If you have a look from the rear, plenty of clear space for Coletti, but he needs to hope that Steve Hefford, when he comes onto pit road in a couple of moments' time, doesn't actually go any faster on his pit stop, because that will be the lead taken away. It's only 1.6 seconds as Coletti came on towards pit road.
Yeah, Steve Hefford and Stephen Burke, they need to pit right now. Steve Hefford behind lap traffic as well. This is going to play to his detriment once again. Steve Hefford being held up. This is crucial towards the lead of the race at the moment. Him and Stephen Burke now almost one top of each other at the moment. We'll see if they knock each other off like dominoes. Steve Hefford trying to break up the inside of the lap car, not making or not letting him through. Is he going to pull into the pits? Both cars into the pits. This is just played. Oh, and does he get a speeding penalty? Incredibly close to the line as well. Stephen Burke giving a tap. This is incredible. What is going on between these two drivers? And hopefully a quick pit stop. It's going to be crucial. He has to aim for about 35 seconds, Will.
Indeed, he does. You know what? At times like this, I feel like I should be JR. Good God! And Steve Hefford there, going to get himself some tyres. There you can see, look on board of him. You've also got Magic on pit road. You've got Stephen Burke on pit road right now. They are each doing their service. We need to pay attention, though, as we have a look from our aerial coverage at where everyone else is on the racetrack. There you can see Hefford. Here's Coletti. He's working himself now out of Goddard. So, if you are that driver of Hefford, you need to get going in a hurry. But Coletti, looking as though he's going to go back to the race lead. 32.9 seconds, actually. You can see Hefford back out onto the racetrack. Coletti looks as though he will go past there. Great in-lap for Coletti. Light lap traffic killed the chance of Stefford being able to go to the race lead.
No, and Ben Palmer's just so scuppered a chance of going into P2. He's run wide at turn 1, and now he couldn't get a run into 2, 3, and 4 on Steve Hefford. So Steve Hefford settles into P2 at the moment. Dan Hunt there effectively in 3rd. Obviously, after everyone makes their pit stop, these are the positions they will be in. We know Rover Verke, Ellis Stevens, and Dan Blake up there in 1, 2, and 3 have not made their compulsory pit stop for this race. Still 12 minutes remaining, just over 12 and a half minutes. This is incredibly interesting. Any driver in that top 5 or top 10 can win this race.
Yep, so there you can see Ben Palmer currently scored in 6th place as Ellis Stevens is going side by side with Rolf Verke. Battle for the race lead. Who will it be? For Verke or Stevens? Stevens around the outside. Stevens will go to the race lead, but will they come on towards pit road? Yes, but Verke will. Stevens will stay out. Stevens now leads this race, and it was a great pass there. Round the outside, with Dan Blake right behind him as they come down towards turn number 1.
Wow, that is incredible. Dan Blake behind as well. The top 3 battle now. Unfortunately, Roy had to pit and pretty much make it a duo for the lead at the moment. But I don't think these two will pretty much lead at the end. They'll probably feed back into the angry little pack of drivers around P10, P11 after their stops. We'll see where Roy Verke feeds out. That's obviously essentially where these two are also going to pop out after their compulsory pit stop.
I'm sorry, if you have any friends who are watching the soccer of Italy versus whatever, England, whatever is going on right now, don't bother. This is far more entertaining than watching 11 idiots from each team kicking a piece of cow around a football pitch. But out front, it is Verke still making his pit stop. It's a long one for him. He'll be back out of the way in just a couple of moments' time. The Dutch driver of Verke, Belgium driver, actually, I take that one back. I do apologise. Will be out and away in just 1 moment's time. It's a very long pit stop for him, actually. Very, very long pit stop. He's falling down the order. Out of the way. 55.7 seconds for him. There you can see Dan Blake. There you can see the battle between himself and Ellis Stevens in a battle for the race lead. And we know that Stevens takes absolutely no prisoners. By the way, it is 1-1 in the soccer. Don't watch it. It's boring. But Stevens down into Goddard once again. These drivers will have to pit in the next 2 laps. Will Stevens come in? No, he will stay out as Dan Blake comes onto pit road. And there's a very good look, actually, at just how hard it is to get onto pit road here.
Yeah, it was incredibly quick. They're using the pit. There's 2 pit entries. There's one at Donington before that final corner, and then there's one just there that we're using today, which is, well, you have to take a pretty awkward or uncanny line through the hairpin. Unfortunately, though, 55-second pit stop for Roy Verke, the Belgian. I think that might be the longest pit stop I've actually ever seen in my life in non-endurance racing. So, okay, well, unfortunately for him, he's down there in P16 at the moment. We'll see where Dan Blake feeds out. Miles Kletzley now up into the lead. Dan Blake has no chance of taking that away.
No, you can see that it's the longest pit stop there for Dan Blake. Ellis Stevens does continue to lead way. Coletti, 2nd place. Hefford in 3rd. Palmer 4th. Then Dan Hunt running at your top 5. Dan Blake, another long stop. These drivers seem to like their tyres here today. That's what adds on the additional time. But Blake, another driver over 40 seconds. 43.7. Back out and away onto the racetrack as Stevens then, let's see as we go back to have a look at him. When will he come onto pit road? He's working himself through the S's right now. Let's ride along board of him. He's your race leader. He's had 2 laps on this race so far. He's heading himself down into Melbourne.
Ellis Stevens, will he pull into the pits now? He's driving incredibly cautious at the moment. And, well, he's about 1 second off the pace from the leader. So pretty much his race, or his chances... he's driving incredibly cautious. This is quite weird to see at the moment. And will he pull into the pits? He does. So maybe he's just adjusting a few settings, not trying to spin off the track. As a driver, you really have to make sure that you do nail this phase quite right. But that's a pretty slow in-lap. Unfortunately for Ellis Stevens, I don't think he'll jump Dan Blake. Dan Blake in P14.
Yeah, 144 in-lap then. It was a 141 in-lap for Dan Blake. So actually, Stevens going to lose an absolute boatload of time. As you can see, Palmer battling out with Hefford right now. They've both made pit stops. Ben Palmer trying to battle for what's going to be a net second place in the race here. But Palmer needs to get going with 8 minutes 45 seconds to go. He must get past Hefford the second he gets up right behind him. Otherwise, it is going to be Miles Coletti who's going to win this race.
Yeah, and this is quite interesting actually. Ellis Stevens out of the pits. Is that a less than 20-second pit stop for Ellis Stevens? So he's up into P4, completely the opposite of what happened to Dan Blake. So Ellis Stevens now into P4. I'm not sure how that works. And
fuel only.
Yeah, so no tire. We'll see. He's pretty much, his chances for the win is just going to be, well, it's not going to really work out for him. How much time is he going to lose? If he's got about 30 seconds to lose in 8 minutes. I'm pretty sure he can get away with that. Already letting Dan Hunt through, though. His tires are pretty much gone.
Yep, and they can see Ellis Stevens now down into a net 5th place in this event as he works himself down in towards McLean's once again. You know what? I've been to this racetrack so many times, probably more than anywhere else, and I still don't know the corner names. Professional commentary, ladies and gentlemen, only on RaceSpotTV. There's your race leader. It is Miles Coletti, working himself on the exit of the S's down towards Melbourne. Gap between himself and Hefford is currently 3 seconds. But here's the situation right now. P2 is catching P1. P3 is catching P2. Get your photo finish cameras. This could be exciting.
There could certainly be Robert Plumley as well on the back of Sylvain Pomerade. Pomerade is dropped behind Michael Hall. Yeah, actually, talking about the track, looking at it doesn't actually help that a track that's a turn called Old Hairpin is actually a fast sweeping right-hander. So I actually sympathise with you there for the moment. But Sylvain Pomerade running wide will actually focus on this for the moment. He really needs to get it right onto the back of Michael Hall, and Robert Plumley really not getting a terrible exit there. And now Sylvain will across the front straight be relieved of that pressure, and we'll see what happens here in the late stages of the race. Can Ben Palmer catch up to Miles Coletti? It seems that Miles has the pace in this race. I think at the moment he's very close to setting I think he has the second fastest lap on the race, Miles. So incredible job from him to maintain first position.
Yeah, and you see Steve Hefford's now falling down into the 3rd position. Ben Palmer was able to get past. Let's get ourselves an instant replay then. Not quite instant, but instant enough of that one as Ben Palmer is able to move himself up a position. This is down in towards turn number 1. Ben Palmer launches it down to the inside. You can see from how far back he came there over that number 72 car, banged him out of the way, forced his way through. That is touring car racing at its most aggressive, but Ben Palmer 5 seconds now to catch up to the rear. No, actually, I take that back. Hefford has just got himself back past Palmer, and that was down into Melbourne. So all of a sudden, it's all changed once again. Hefford has forced his way back past Palmer. These two are battling with each other. This is allowing Miles Coletti to just drive off into the sunset.
Yeah, Steve Hefford, incredible on the brakes. You can just see Ben Palmer is not going to match him in a braking zone. Ben Palmer's got to get the move done through lines, before the corner. He can't afford to have a braking battle. It seems that he's not as confident as Steve on the brakes. Steve now into P2, and this is just playing, well, it's not going to help Ben Palmer's chances of a win at the moment, battling with Steve Hefford, as well as Steve himself, actually, because the more time they spend battling, they've already lost a few tenths to Miles Coletti in front. So Miles is pretty happy with the way things are going at the moment. There's Dan Hunt as well with Ben Palmer.
Yeah, and this is going to be very close as Hunt actually side by side. He is ahead as they work themselves down side by side there. Palmer going to lose himself another position. It looks as though that those multicoloured cars are going at it, but Palmer on the inside line. We think maybe he might be able to squeeze him. He's going to actually have to stay on the outside, but he does retain that 3rd position there over Dan Hunt, and that was incredible racing there by Palmer. But Hunt is not done yet, and we know Hunt to be a very aggressive but also very skilled driver as they work themselves through Coppice once again. 4 minutes 40 seconds to settle this one out as once again Hunt down to the inside.
Oh, Dan Hunt, this is going to be a braking battle once again. Ben Palmer, we know, not as confident on the brakes. Can Dan Hunt indeed outbrake him? He does exactly that. In front, though, that's Steve Hepburn punting away a lap car. And now Steve Hepburn, I think, has been disqualified from the race, from that incident. So it's allowed. This is incredible stuff at the moment. Dan Hunt and Ben Palmer battling into Melbourne hairpin turn 10. Can Ben Palmer get the undercut? Oh, it's incredibly close at the moment. Dan Hunt, though, still parking the car on the apex. Oh, jeez, look at that. They're actually touching on the run down to turn 11. This is just too close for comfort once again. Ben Palmer trying to get the undercut once again. Dan Hunt, this is incredible battling. And now into turn 1, they're going to be side by side once again, I think. Ben Palmer wants the inside line.
He's going to bump
not going to
him
give it up.
all the way down the front straight away. He's just trying to make him outbrake himself there. Ben Palmer going to look to the outside. This is NASCAR Tactics 101. You bump the other driver out of the way. And you can see Palmer trying to do exactly the same thing as they work themselves down through crane of curves, down through turn 2, down into turn number 3. 2 laps to go this time by. But here's the impressive stuff as Ellis Stevens is, by the way, again on pit road. So, Stevens, okay.
Robert Plumley as well. I think they're just probably out of fuel. Same as last race. Same issue with 3 minutes to go at the moment. Unfortunately for Steve Hepburn, though, we'll go back there. He's been disqualified, so he is out of the race. And a promising second or third position there has gone to, well, it's gone to the bin.
Yep, as there you can see, the driver out front is still Miles Coletti. The gap between himself and second place is 7.2 seconds. But this is what we want to look at. There you can see Hunt versus Palmer. Down to the S as they go once again. Palmer not quite close enough behind. Paul Smith battling out right now with your championship leader, Michael Hall. Down to the S's. Every position now matters for Hall. Can he do it as they come down to the S's? No, he can't. But Hall, we know he's so good down into Melbourne.
Oh, look at Michael Hall now. Can he stick it up the inside of Paul Smith? Paul Smith under immense pressure. We know Paul can handle it. He's in for a lot of battles this round, and that's going to add to his resume of incredible racecraft. And, well, Paul Smith has to pretty much give that position up. So now Sylvain Pomerade 5 seconds behind. Can he catch up? Because Michael Hall's 2 positions in front, and he's gained more points than Sylvain this race for the championship.
Yeah, as you can see, Palmer once again side by side, down towards turn number 1, not able to make the move work there. There'll be 2 laps to go this time by. 2 more laps of this race. 2 more laps for Palmer to scrap it out with Dunham. Let's ride on board then with Palmer through crane of curves, down towards the old hairpin. And, well, Palmer, well, he does not ever want to give up. But right now, he is battling for a very well-deserved P2.
Well, Ben Palmer shines through race 2 now. Look at this. Still trying to get in front of Dan Hunt. Lovely, lovely racing. Dan Hunt, though, oh, Ben Palmer's missed the apex as well into McLean's. And now on towards Coppice. It's just too close again. This is the important part. He has to get the exit right. He's too close, though. He's got the exit so right. He has to back off the throttle. And now Ben Palmer, can he stick it up the inside into turn 9?
Well, they can see that they are side by side as they work themselves down into the S's once again. Aerial coverage powered by And1 Design. But no, they can't do it there as they work themselves out of that corner down towards Melbourne once again. The white flag will be out this time by for this driver, Miles Coletti. He comes down in towards that final corner. It's Goddard, turn number 11. And Coletti has led 15 of the 20 laps here today. He only didn't lead when he worked himself onto pit road, but the white flag is out. 1 more lap to go here. And Johnny, we've got ourselves a great finish. It looks like Coletti will win it, but that battle for P2 and P3, well, that one is still incredibly hot.
Yeah, we know Miles Coletti is good for fuel. He made that pit stop late, so it's all pretty much done and dusted for him. And, well, Ben Palmer now running wide at turn 1. He's made a habit of that this race. Unfortunately for him, he's been so strong in every race 2, in every round this season. He nails it right for this reverse grid race and the pit stop. At the moment, though, he's pretty much probably going to have to settle in for P3 unless Dan Hunt makes a pretty fatal maneuver.
Well, we just saw there Dan Blake was able to move himself past Amici in the final part of this lap. By the way, Ashley Sutton up into P9 away from us, and actually P8 now, because Magic, well, it's not so magic for him anymore, because you can see he's down into P9, getting pushed a little bit wide there, down in towards turn number 1, so you can see, look, battle for P number 2. It looks as though it might well all be over. There you can see the Power Max car of Dan Hunt running himself in that second position out of Coppice for the final time. There's no way he will catch the race leader unless the race leader runs completely out of fuel in 7.5 seconds. But Ben Palmer is finally looking as though he's going to relinquish that second position. It looks like Dan Hunt will get it, but Miles Gillespie out of Melbourne, down towards Goddard's for the final time. Yes, there's lap traffic. It won't mean a thing. One more corner to go. Checkered flag will be out, this time by from Miles Gillespie as he comes out of the final corner now. He will claim victory, and the second of today's race is here. He claims it by 7.2 seconds over Dan Hunt. Hunt will hold on. He'll claim third place, and then it will be, as you can see, actually just very quickly, Dan Blake going past Martin Johnson up into P10, and also Dimitri there. Going to go side by side. Battle for the rear mid part of the field. You can see P11, P12 down into Melbourne. Dan Blake, when he gets turned around, 2 races in a row, he gets barged wide there by Dimitri. Oh, free car wreck there. Blake will get away with it. He will be ahead, but then it is going to be the driver of Dimitri disqualified by the looks of it. Johnson up into 11th position. Dimitri pushed a little bit too hard. Blake will come home in 10th. Johnson in 11th, but that was battling all the way to the line, Johnny.
Oh, well, unfortunately for Dimitri Jukanovic there, Martin Johnson tried to stick it up the inside of both of them. I don't think they were aware of it. Only, I think that was Ashley Sutton, not Ashley Sutton in front, Dan Blake in front, who was aware. So Dimitri Jukanovic's race is over. He's DQ'd. He's not happy about it in the chat as well. But for Miles Gillespie in the win, it was all about that start from 5th to 1st into the first corner, and that pretty much set his sights for the win from lap 1.
Yeah, they can see Ashley starting P9, a good recovery drive by him then after he made his pit stop. Importantly also, Michael Hall came home in the 5th position, Sylvian Promenade all the way down in P number 7. Let's get yourself then a look at your final race results. Miles Gillespie taking victory by just a tad over 2 seconds over Dan Hunt in that battle for victory. Well, Ben Palmer was battling out with Dan Hunt in the last laps of the race, wasn't able to do anything. He comes home 2nd. Ben Palmer works himself in that 3rd position. Stephen Burke in 4th, and then Michael Hall rounds out your top 5. Paul Smith, Sylvian Promenade, Ashley Sutton in 8th. Magic Shujovic and Dan Blake running at your top 10. Then we head on back, and you can see it's Martin Johnson in 11th, Rusty Laidler, a disappointing day overall for him, in 12th, Ellis Stevens in 13th. He had to pit for a 2nd time after miscalculating his fuel. Weber Verke in 14th, Robert Plumley in 15th, Liam Atkins in 16th, Jason Newman in 17th, Dimitri Jovanovic in the 18th spot. Then it's Keith Hamilton and Steve Efford who round out your top 10. 17 drivers on your lead lap. There you can see their final 2 positions. It's Andy Shield and Pete Newman who round out your field here today. We'll step aside for a moment. We'll be back with post-race coverage after these messages. You're watching a RaceSpotTV presentation of Champions of the Future.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun.
Cars are lined up on the grid. The RaceSpot.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. We are underway. They all come down into turn 1 for the first time.
is it about speed? Speed because they can, or because they can't help it? IndyCar, the heart of racing. Go to IndyCar.com for live timing and scoring, upcoming race details, and to join the conversation.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RaceSpotTV, post-race coverage of the second of 2 races here for Champions of the Future's World Touring Car Championship. So then we've had ourselves an entertaining race once again. It is time for us to go a little bit crazy and get ourselves in interviews with a couple of drivers, and we need to start with the driver who, well, ran race number 1.
So, Dimitri, can you just confirm whether you got disqualified?
If you just got disqualified. We're going to talk to the driver who won race number 1, had himself some issues in race 2, but rebounded, came home in P number 9, Ashley Sutton! P9.
You need to get your facts right. It's P8, Will. Come on.
It's P9 on my stats.
Alright, that's fine. I'll let you off.
Yeah. How was that?
That was all good. All good. A little bit of carnage. As I said, I would try and avoid it, but I didn't. I got involved in it. But no, it was really good apart from that. Just had to... Oh yeah, until I decided to do 2 pit stops. Because I drove straight past my pit spot. It was really, really good.
Oh, so it wasn't a penalty? You just...
No, I just really messed up. I originally went in for a pit stop. And then, yeah, just drove straight past it. And realised I had to go round again and back into the pits. So that lost me 15 seconds.
Easy. Well, you came home P9 in the end. You got yourself some repairs on your pit stop, was able to rebound. On a scale of 1 to pissed off, how pissed off were you at that incident?
At the start, 8, but I slowly calmed down to about 4, and then I went back up to fucking pissed off because I, went through the pits twice. So yeah, it was good.
Well, halfway through the season, pretty much. Second half of the season, you've got some ground to make up to your CQR teammate Michael Hall. What are you going to do when they come?
I think it's going to be untouchable, to be honest. So with missing the 2 rounds, it's like standing on my back foot. So I've got to work my way up and just try and get the best results. And hope someone runs out of fuel in the future.
If there is a positive, how glad are you to see a teammate winning the race in race 2?
That's a good thing for the team. We were actually saying that at least someone's doing their job properly tonight. Me and Mike were kind of bringing up the rear, shall we say. But no, it's good to have him win the race. So, yeah, really good.
Is he here?
Miles is not here, but Michael is.
Well, we'll have a chat with Michael Hall because Miles Coletti couldn't be bothered to be here for an interview. Michael Hall, P5, race 2. Got yourself some gap over Sylvian Promenade. You had a good, clean race, but it was tough. Take us through it.
Yeah, it weren't too bad, really, apart from speeding in the pit lane and getting the 15-second penalty. But other than that, yeah, it weren't too bad. But great win for Miles. Happy about that.
You see, we didn't actually call the fact that you got a penalty. We're crap broadcasters, but at least we caught that one. Well, you got yourself P5 overall. You're not quite close enough to battle to get into a podium position, but as far as the championship's concerned, you must be moderately happy with this result.
Not really, no.
You came, you were ahead by 4 places over Ashley. You were ahead of Sylvienne by 2 places. You beat them both.
Yeah, I should have had second in that race.
You should have, but you can't pit.
That's very true, actually. Yeah, I thought I was pretty sure I wasn't speeding, but apparently I was. So, yeah.
Miles Coletti needs a headset. If you are a Steel Series or Turtle Beach, I was going to say Turtle Bay, Turtle Beach or any other headset providers, please send a headset to Miles Coletti. I don't know his address, but just send it to him. It'll end up in the post, we promise. Next week, we go to another track. How do you think the second half of your season is going to go? And can it match your impressive form in the first?
Well, it's all starting to go downhill, to be honest. I won 3 out of the first 4 races, and yeah, the last couple haven't been as great, but see what happens.
Well,
put in a bit more work and keep going.
It's Watkins Glen. All you need to do when you come through, I think on that layout, it's going to be turn number 9, is don't put the power down too early. You'll be fine. Although, to be fair, if I was the organiser, I'd put you on the classic layout and I'd just let you go and destroy each other. But that's just me. Who cares? Thank you very much, CQR guys there. Disappointing day for 2 of their drivers, but Johnny, one of them claimed a victory. And as far as the team goes, well, that means they still get champagne. Or as far as, you know, this series goes, they get some Lamborghini spraying each other's faces.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but that's good. And, well, you know what? I think it's actually good for the team anyway to have a third driver, at least, if you want to call him that. Miles still down in P11 and championship going into the round, winning a race as well, showing that the team is quite strong as well. The good thing for Michael, though, we know, Will, and ask Michael as well, is that because you say you're on the decline at least, but if you finish ahead of your championship rivals, especially Sylvain, I mean, at least you're getting the job done, whether or not you could have been P2.
Yeah, obviously I've still got to finish ahead of them, and finishing ahead of Sylvian's always a good thing. But yeah, I'm sure Ash is going to be pretty quick in the second half of the season.
Well, thank you very much, guys. And by the way, do you actually know what Lamborghini is, Johnny?
Bottled.
Say it again.
Lamborghini,
no.
right, okay. Lamborghini, it's bottled in the same way as wine, but it's 7.5% cider. And it is designed for people who like to have weddings in the back of caravans.
Cider's not that bad, actually. If it's 7.5%, I've never heard of that.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you're Australian, I'm going to tell you a story very quickly. I used to do tour guiding in London. And I used to get a lot of Australian backpackers, and I used to go drinking with a lot of them, but they were all broke, so they'd get the cheapest alcohol possible, which, as soon as I mention the name, all the UK people are going to laugh. It's called White Lightning. And you guys, I will give it to you Australians, you can drink, you cannot drink white cider, because you get drunk after about 2 cans.
Well, no offense to my country, but I mean, I don't know whether most people just like to get drunk for the sake of it, or whether or not. So maybe they just wanted to get drunk rather than enjoy a drink. I have no idea really what I'm saying at the moment, but maybe I'm drunk at the moment. I'm not sure.
I'm the one on the red wine, not like you. We'll talk to you CQR guys in a bit. We're going to go upstairs, and we will start the second part of our post-race interviews. We'll go from one RaceSpotTV commentator to another. Johnny Simon with the one and only Dan Blake.
Dan Blake, the one and only, finishing P10 in this race. And we know about the pit stop phase. Did you think you would have fed out as far back as you did? Because, I mean, you were promising having that battle. Do you think you should have actually pitted a lot earlier instead of getting into that battle with Stephen Burke in front?
It's me and Ellis Stevens at the final pit stop, but I was just trying to go as long as I could. I thought I'd take just a bit of a short pit stop. I did make a bit of an error. I had a rear tyre, which I didn't want to put on the car, put on, so that cost me a bit of time as well. But other than that, I think it's a really good race. On the first race, I had a good battle with Pete Newman as well, but in that second race, it was just a case of going through the field, really. I started about, I must have been 10th, 11th, something like that. So I had a few good battles throughout the end. Unfortunately, there was a battle between myself, Martin Johnson, and Dimitri. So Dimitri get disqualified in the end, but I think he was quite upset in the chat. But I don't think it was my fault really, because what happened was in the Melbourne Loop, he came down on my inside, he pushed me wide, and then Martin Johnson tapped him into me. So that's my version of events there. But other than that, I think it was quite an eventful race. Made a few good overtaking manoeuvres and just tried to have a good race and enjoy myself really.
Yeah, it certainly was very thoroughly entertaining from our point of view in the commentator's booth, and that was crucial. Unfortunately, Martin's not here to speak to us, but yeah, he did run wide at the Melbourne hairpin, as you said, and he tried to go up the inside, make it 3 wide, and unfortunately, I think it might have been Dimitri maybe unaware of Martin trying to stick it up the inside of him. But, well, nonetheless, Dan, well done to you in a great race. I'll hand it back to Will for some more interviews with others.
We're going to go to another RaceSpot TV commentator. It was the birthday boy from the weekend, Mr. Paul Smith!
Alright then, Paul. Paul Heyman.
It's alright, I tell you what, I did watch WrestleMania. I did watch Monday Night Raw, so it's my fault. I was actually saying earlier, we need to one day commentate a race like JR, Michael Cole, JBL, and Joey the King Lawler. But hey, well, race number 2 for you, Paul. It was P6, outside the top 5. You can't complain overall, really, can you?
Oh, I could, but I won't. Top 6th place, it's an improvement from where I started. I could have done better, but again, a couple of slowdown penalties, so I just never learned. The pit stop phase went well, just had enough fuel for the end, so I could complain, but Bertie was a bit faster than me, so I had to give up that 5th place in the end.
Well, next week we head ourselves over to Watkins Glen International, two very nice and posh upstate New York, for the 5th round of the championship. Watkins is a track which is technically demanding. It's fast, it's furious, you've got the classic layout. After turn 1, you don't really get out the gas pedal until you get down to the carousel. How fast, how scary, how exciting do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be brilliant because I absolutely love that track. I'm not the fastest around there, but I absolutely love driving there. So I'm going to really just have some fun, get my elbows out a bit again, and hopefully impress Hugo with my overtaking.
Well, we'll talk to you next time. Paul Smith, ladies and gentlemen, going home P6 to here today. We've got ourselves a couple of other people to talk to. Seeing as I can't do it in front of his face to Miles, I'm going to have to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up next, Rusty Liedler in P13. What happened?
It's just exactly what's been happening all season. Just no luck at all. Got turned around by Hefford. I mean, he's got about as much driving talent as a Dick Fritter. So it was, it was inevitable. There's a car, hits a car, keeps his foot in. That's some smart logic right there. But kept going. You've got to think of the team championship. You just got to keep getting points. The biggest problem I've had with this car is iRacing hates front wheel drive. They've given us a new spring model, and that has totally thrown me a curveball. I just can't get to grips with it. And you spoke before to Paul saying, are you looking forward to Watkins, and saying after turn 1 you're not going to be lifting. I think we're going to have to, because the way this car doesn't like changing direction anymore. It sort of squats on its arse, and it's like it tries to pick up the inside front wheel, and then you're losing traction, you're losing grip, and you're losing speed. It's going to be terrible. But
like my dog having a dump and then trying to wipe its ass after.
Basically, I mean, hopefully if we get some cold weather, that might be able to counter it, because then you can get the back end to move around to counter the fact that the car's just turd now. That was the other thing with today. I couldn't look after my tyres because we had some ridiculously noob weather. It was just too hot. I don't like hot conditions. I don't like these springs. I don't like Hefford anymore.
To talk about Dick Fritters, do they slice it and then fry it, or is this spotted dick ground into a paste, then made into a patty and then fried?
I've no idea. I just saw Dick Fritter on the back of his car as it spun round, so I'm guessing they're a sponsor of his.
I can't commentate much more without getting myself into serious trouble, but firstly, thank you very much for talking to us here today. Got ourselves also the driver who's a little bit of a kind of magic, except not in race number 2. Johnny Simon, take it away.
Oh, I'm still trying not to laugh at the comments before, but hopefully none less controversial for you, Magic. I mean, talk about your race. Still a top 10 finish.
Yeah, that was fun. I got my elbows out this one. The one thing I want to say is please don't turn in on me when I'm going for a move, because that won't end for you well. Just won't. All I've got to say about this race, really.
Well, we know, I mean, having your elbows out there, you'd expect people to be very aggressive as you have. I mean, was there any particular places on the track that you didn't like drivers turning in, or was it just in all places?
Yeah, every corner where you have to brake and someone's trying to go on your inside, you should leave the inside open. Well, what are you doing?
With me?
You, yes.
I'm dancing.
Alright, fair enough.
Dance.
See, I can't.
Yes, you can. Dance. Come
I
on.
can't.
You can do it.
No.
Carry on.
That's it, actually. I think Magic has pretty much talked about his feelings for the race, only finishing 4/10 behind Ashley Sutton. Did you lose that position on the final lap, by the way? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he got me into turn 1. He just has that, you know, that skill to go for the gap that really doesn't exist there for anyone else but him.
We'll hand it back to you, Will. Incredible race from Magic, and Magic 9th position. Unfortunately for him, though, it wasn't a win this time around.
No worries, we got ourselves Liam Atkins next. He came home in race number 2 in P number 16. How was that apex down into turn number 1?
I think I hit it this time. It's just I had the jump start off the thing because I thank you. I sort of pressed the pedal in off the start, the clutch pedal, put it into gear, and it jumped forward. And it's just something, I think it's a hardware issue with the pedal, so I'm gonna have to have a look at that. But then I hit the apex in turn 1, and then the next set of corners I just got it sideways and took someone out with me.
Well, yeah, you've explained the incident. What pedals do you have?
G27.
Well, we've been trying to get Fnatic sponsorship for a while now, so buy Fnatic! Buy Fnatic!
Does that mean you'll hook me up as well?
Yeah. Who knows? Hopefully that might just turn it over for them. But your race from there was a drive of recovery. Came home P16 overall. I'm presuming you're glad to forget this track and head over to Watkins in a week's time.
Yeah, Watkins Glen isn't a strong track for me. I run it on the weekend in Global, and I just had a really bad time on it, so I'm going to have to get some practice in. Hopefully with a decent set of pedals.
Well, yes, good luck to you. We hope you get your pedal issues sorted out. And and finally, over to Johnny Simon. He stood by with Keith Hamilton.
Keith Hamilton, absolute. Well, not the best race, obviously, and well, not the best round for you at least. There in P19, 3 laps down. I mean, why were you so far behind?
I think it's just a case of being taken out. There's a couple of times in the first race, especially, I got taken out and having to limp around to the pits, and that's put me 2 laps down.
We talk about it though, about the second race being so important for drivers avoiding incidents, especially in the first few laps, as everything is so crazy between everybody trying to dice through and make their way through the field. I mean, what do you think is key next time around? I mean, do you think you can do anything to avoid being taken out, or is it just something that you can't control?
Well, you can't really control it, man. I didn't get taken out in the first couple of laps on this second race. I got a couple of slowdowns, but then after I got disqualified because too many incidents, and I really don't like this track. So, and then Hefford punted me, and he got disqualified as well. So karma.
You know what? I agree with you. I hate this track. You know the reason why? They moved my favourite music festival from inside of the racetrack to
Yeah, indeed.
million fucking miles away. And have you ever tried walking whilst drunk around Donington Park? It sucks.
Oh, I know. Done that a few times.
Yes.
It's like you have to leave at like 6 in the morning to get to the bloody tents.
And I would walk 500 miles. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, on Friday night, let's go to the stage now and catch the Sunday shows.
Yeah. No worries. Hand it back over to Johnny.
You know what? That actually says it all, really. Walking drunk around Donington. That's probably something I need to do in my lifetime.
Yeah, I think I was driving around drunk.
You need to. Seriously. Seriously, there's nothing better. There used to be nothing better. And one year, actually, I went with one of my friends who's partially blind. So we got the disabled. They used to have, like, disabled buggies, golf buggies, and they drive you. But the one year, I think it was 2008, where they moved it outside the track for the first time. They decided, screw it, we can't actually be bothered to go down the normal route. We're just going to go and run from the Crane of Curves down to about Starkey's Bridge on the racetrack, 30 miles an hour. People absolutely paralytically drunk. It's like, yeah, why not? But yeah, Donington Park, love the racetrack, hate Live Nation. Johnny, should we head back over to TeamSpeak?
We should. You know what? Actually, talking about drunk driving, there's actually a driver I probably won't mention their name, but they actually drove a world championship race and a little bit intoxicated.
Ricky?
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say who it is.
Right,
and,
whoa.
it's going to be something
We can
to
narrow it
investigate.
down.
We got to know.
Yeah, we can narrow it down to a couple of people. Where they finish?
Is this why
Well-
Alex Simpson's not very well at the minute?
no, that's stupid. Unfortunately, Alex, he will hopefully be back shortly. He's got a few personal things going on at the moment, but yeah,
Wanking too hard again, hasn't he?
I don't. I can't mention.
Yeah, no, it's it.
Yeah. We love you, Alex. And also, at the same time, I want to give a shout out to my good friend Paul Jenkins, who also lost a family member this past week. It's not been a great week for the RaceSpot TV family, but we love you all. Anyone who's been a part of the RaceSpot TV family, don't forget, we are standing side by side with you. But Johnny, will they finish? The ultimate silence of someone who does not want to reveal something. This is impressive. We'll find out.
It's buggered off.
We'll find out on the other end. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been a RaceSpot TV presentation of round number 4 of the Champions of the Futures World Touring Car Championship. For myself and the one and only Mr. Johnny Simon, we shall talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sorry. Your heart, you were still alive. Lost in the game. Oh,
When I came in the conversation, how it was going, I thought, oh, we're not live now. I can say what I want.
Wait, did I say something wrong before we cut it?